So we're going to share right now. This will be videoed, and we're going to share a little bit about the kind of prophetic things of the 8 mandates that we feel God gave for Succat Hallel at the beginning of Succat Hallel, and just a quick snapshot of something God is doing in each one of those mandates. I'm going to ask Patricia to come up and share about on the day on Mount Zion, actually 21 years ago, when God gave us the vision and spoke to us about what he was calling us to Israel to do.
Well, we had been, like Rick said, we were praying, just being part of what Tom Hess was doing, of having prayer all throughout the city, and we were just taking the 12 to 2 time as a family for months, and fasting and praying at the end of that time, trying to decide and trying to hear what the Lord was saying to us about Israel. And we had been coming into Israel for 6-7 years at that point, and falling more and more and more in love with Israel. And we found that this last time when we were praying during that time, we felt like, oh, we just can't leave this place. But Father, what do you want? And we went up to Mount Zion, right by JUC. You all know where JUC is. It's on Mount Zion. And we were looking over the valley, and it was down in the Pool of Siloam. There were bleachers with down there. There are many times bleachers down there, but this time it was filled with young people, and they were women in different colored T-shirts. And so we asked a guy that was coming by, we said, who are these women? And he said, oh, the beautiful women of Israel. And I said, but who are they? And he said, they are graduating from the army, and being inducted into the army. Can't remember which one. Graduation. And so as we were watching these women, the Lord said, I want you to move here. And if you move here, it will be easier for your daughters to move here. And I want to use your daughters in the coming revival. And so we heard him say, and I want you to start a prayer, a 24/7 house of prayer within walking distance of the original Tabernacle of David. And so we knew that we had these mandates, the youth and the prayer. And so we didn't have the money to rent a place within walking distance of the original Tabernacle of David. We learned that that's like the most expensive part of town. But God provided. And I won't go into that because it's a long, long story, but we're so grateful that he did what he said he would do. And we had one daughter who was in Argentina and one who was in California, and then we had our youngest with us. And the Lord, and we knew that it had to be God to bring them back to Israel. One thought she was called to the Spanish world, and the other was praying about what to do. She said, oh, Israel's your thing. It's not my thing. And and she ended up marrying an Israeli that she met in the States. And so God brought them back miraculously in his way, and used them all in the youth little mini revivals we've seen in the last 20 years. But there's so much more. And so we believe that Esther's cheering us on from where she is, and really, her life and her death has brought so much revelation and nearness of heaven to us. And so we just want to see that heaven come down to earth. And so that's what revival is. It's heaven coming to earth. And so we're praying for that to happen. And we know that all 3 girls are going to be involved in it. And all of you are going to be involved in it. All those who long for his appearing. We're all going to see a major revival with the youth of Israel. And because the Lord said that. And so that was the beginning. And we praise the Lord that he brought us here.
Yes, yeah. And I thank the Lord for an amazing, wonderful wife who has carried this vision so deeply at her heart. And, many of you know that you get WhatsApp messages from her about your watches, sometimes at 6 in the afternoon, sometimes at midnight, sometimes at 3 in the morning, sometimes at 8 in the morning. So it's just like she keeps waking up and, I've got to do that. And let this one remind this one to reply to this one. But thank the Lord for a wife who's not only loves to worship, but is a worship leader. It could just, look at that as the only thing, but her heart's desire was to prepare a dwelling place for the Lord. And thank the Lord for so many. And I, in a special way, want to recognize Martin and Norma, who have been with us from the very, very beginning. And we just thank the Lord so much for you and your faithfulness through all these years. And like I said, there are many, many others in the room who have been here years at a time and have invested such a blessing. But wanted in a special way, they've carried a lot of the weight of the vision with us for these 20 years, and we're so thankful. So I'd like to just quickly share what the 8 mandates that the Lord gave us over the development of time of Succat Hallel, and tell something that God has done in each thing, but not telling it as a this is what we've done, but this is what God has done. This is a night of thanksgiving. These 3 days of the 20th anniversary are a time to thank God for his faithfulness and thank him for what all he has done during these years.